Hey, what's up? So let's do another manga haul here today. But this one is going to be mostly manga magazines. So mostly Gentou and Yagyo. But we'll just start off with the singular manga here today before we dive into that, because I have shown off some of the manga magazines before. Gentou, like I showed off Gentou and Yagyo in previous videos, but I haven't gone through in detail or showed multiple of them in detail yet. So I figured this one was a good one to just introduce those, but I just letting you know I haven't read any of them yet. So I do know the backstory of it, but I still have a lot of things I want to read on my list, so I actually haven't gotten to those magazines yet. But let's just start off with the manga for today. So here, the first one that we have is a manga that is titled something along the lines of The Laughing Devil's Apocalypse, and this is by Yoshikazu Ebisu, of course, who does Heta Uma works. So this one is actually quite a large book. So we've got works here from the 90s, the 80s, pretty much the 80s through to early 90s. But what's really cool is that we have a color chapter here, just with the blue. But just from flicking through this, I have read some of these chapters beforehand, I believe. So some of them I think this one's like, this specific chapter is from The Pits of Hell. So some of these you might recognize. It's just another collection or compilation of Ebisu's one-shots. Which, now I think about it, Ebisu has never done an extended piece, an extended series. It's always just been one-shots from my memory, I believe. I don't remember seeing any other extended stories that he's done. But yeah, I'm not sure why it's the manga graphy here. I might have to check that out. But yeah, The Laughing Devil's Apocalypse. Still slowly adding to my Ebisu collection. I do have a couple of tankobon by him. There's definitely tons more that I need to get. In terms of the percentage, I think I might have maybe 30 to 40% of what he's put out over his career. But it's not too much of a priority because I'm taking it slow with this stuff. So bit by bit, I'll continue to collect more from him. But yeah, that was the manga by Ebisu. I think, did I show off the inside? Maybe not. Here's what it looks like. Inside, yeah, quite a big book. It's around 300 pages, which is like normal, more like 100 pages more than what you might get in a normal tankobon. So let's move on to the next book here. This one is actually, both of these are, I believe they're called dokuhon, so as in like reader manuals or guidebooks or whatever. So this one is the Tsuge Tadao dokuhon. So the Tsuge Tadao guidebook or manual, however you want to call it. This was published in 1988. So it's a book that combines, it's a hardcover book first of all, but it's a book that combines stories, so manga with essays, conversations. What's really cool about this is like you get an album of some photography, which is really sick. So this specific book is for the fans, pretty much. Getting a lot of insight into Tadao. So here we go, we've got some chapters here. Some of them, I'm not too sure if I recognize all the stories. I will have to check, I've not read this yet. But a lot of manga. Then you've got this maybe essay or commentary by his brother, Tsuge Yoshikazu. But a big chunk of this book as well are the essays, the critiques, the interviews, the conversations. So if I go to the back, so this one has been translated in English. It's The Tale of Absolute Nonsense, I believe it's called, something like that. This is in Trash Market. But yeah, if you see here, lots of conversations. I know, like, so Tsuge Yoshikazu has stuff in here. Takano Shinzo, which I will talk about later, appears in here too. But yeah, tons and tons of information. So again, this one's for the fans. You can think of it as just like a guidebook to Tsuge Tadao, published in 1988. But really cool cover, this one actually. It's like a it's textured. Yeah, you can see that it's textured. Hardcover, quite a large book, and very nice red for the cover art. So yeah, I picked this up. I actually didn't know this was like a manual or guidebook. I thought this was just another compilation of his works, but no, I didn't expect all of the the essays at the back. So very good resource for anyone who is a super fan of Tsuge Tadao. But yeah, this one is published by Hokuto Shobo, which it's related to Gentou and Yagyo, the publisher for both of them. So I'll go through that later as well. But yeah, Tsuge Yoshikazu Reader Manual Guidebook. And this one is pretty much kind of the same format. It is also it has the title of a dokuhon, so the Mitsuhashi Otoya Reader Guide or Manual. So Mitsuhashi Otoya, this is the very first book that I have from him. So I don't know too much about him, and I don't think I've actually read a story from him yet, despite the fact that he did publish a lot in Garo. So his first work in Garo was in 1965, and he published a bunch of stories after that. I do have one of the issues that has the cover art drawn by Otoya, but weirdly enough, maybe I was just like unlucky. I've never actually read anything from Otoya yet. So same format. I believe this is also published by Hokuto Shobo as well. So it's kind of that. I don't know if it's like a series that did. I will have to check if they've done any other dokuhon for these mangaka. But same thing. This a little bit sticky. I'm just gonna slowly. Here we go. So more photographs of Otoya. Otoya was also in a band as well. But generally, I don't know too much information about Otoya, but I do love his art. He kind of does like multiple styles. He's got this very like playful style to some of his stories, as you're seeing here. But at the same time, he's quite versatile and can also do very gekiga like art. So stuff like this, where it's a complete shift in the way that he draws his stories. So yeah, I've never read a one-shot from him before, so I don't know what to expect. But the art alone made me want to pick this up. And he doesn't have that many tankobon out. He has another one, maybe one or two besides this. But this anyways is supposed to be the reader guide, so it's collecting stories from a bunch of different sources. And same thing as well, I'm not too sure what these specific ones are, but they might be commentary or interview, something like that. But yeah, a lot of text here. I believe this might be part of a Yagyo cover art. I don't know, I'll have to check. But really cool. Again, another really big book, like 300 pages or so. I will definitely cover this once I do read this through. Yeah, this one, 1990. Great stuff, love the cover, very big book, and another hardcover as well. Alright, so let's get to the manga magazines now. Alright, there's a couple of them. There's quite a lot. So I'm not going to go through everything because I'm just going to mainly just flick through these while I talk about these manga magazines. So we'll start off chronologically, which was Yagyo. So Yagyo came first. So let me remove all the Gentou stuff. So Yagyo, this is the earliest issue that I have. I couldn't find one. I'm still collecting them. Still got a bunch that I do not have. So the story behind Yagyo, the story behind Hokuto Shobo, the publisher for this. So what had happened was that in Garo, there was an editor by the name of Takano Shinzo, and they left Seirindo, which is the publisher for Garo, in 1971. So there was like the rumored reason for this, which I discussed in the 1983 August Garo issue flip through, was that the specific case of Tsuge Tadao's chapter, A Tale of Absolute Nonsense, or an Absolute Nonsense, something like that, that had a part or a chapter in it. I might as well pull it up here, see if I can find it. Here it is. There was a specific panel that had the Emperor at the end of the right. There we go. So in this edition, the manual, this is the uncensored version of Tadao's chapter. So this is, I believe, referencing the Emperor. So in the Garo issue, the original Garo issue that it popped up in, that specific panel was blanked out. So it was censored. And this was done by Katsuichi Nagai, I believe. So Katsuichi Nagai was one of the founders of Garo alongside Shirato Sanpei. He was active in the rental manga scene, so the Kashihon scene. But that was a rumored reason as to why Takano Shinzo left Seirindo, because of that one instance where they had to censor the panel by the instructions of Katsuichi Nagai. So he left in 1971, and he established Hokuto Shobo, which is his publishing company or publisher. And 1972 was when the first Yagyo issue came out, I believe. So initially, they were these larger format books. And this one is hardcover. Very worn down from what in terms of what I have. But let me just move the rest of it because it sort of evolves. So on the cover, what we have here in terms of the mangaka, Tsuge Yoshiharu, Tsuge Tadao, Hayashi Seiichi, and Oji Suzuki. So you see a lot of overlaps between the artists and mangaka in Garo and Yagyo, because of course Takano Shinzo is very familiar with them, knew them, and beautiful color page by Hayashi Seiichi at the front. So what we have here is, I'll just quickly flip through some of these chapters. This one, Natsu no Omoide, this one was collected recently in the Nejishiki manga, the English version by Tsuge Yoshiharu, of course. So this is, I believe, the first time it was shown or published, so in Yagyo. So move on. This looks like a Tadao chapter as well. I'm not too sure of this manga. So because I haven't read any Gentou or Yagyo yet, I'm only really familiar with the artists that I've seen in Garo. For example, this one here, Oji Suzuki. So it's a lot to learn for me still in terms of exploring this magazine. So I do know the backstory. And Yagyo ran for 20 issues in total. So it initially started off with, I think, 2 issues a year, and then it dwindled down to 1 issue a year, and then I believe it went a bit irregular from that point onwards. So the initial issues were in this larger format, and then it shifted a little bit to still being hardcover, but just in a lot smaller format than the starting issues. So this cover page is by Tsuge Yoshiharu. It's also the cover art for one of his collection of works as well. So Who do we have here? We've got the Tsuge brothers, of course. Mazuzo Furukawa's in here. Kano Osamu. Ishii Hisaichi. I've never heard of them before. That's all I recognize at the moment. This, I do believe I've shown off beforehand, so I'll just quickly flip through just to give an idea of what other things, what other stories, art styles popped up. So very different. Unfortunately, again, I can't give any really detailed information about the mangaka here, but eventually, you know, this will be added to the manga magazine series that I do on my channel. So page by page flip throughs and summaries of the stories. Really cool stuff by Mazuzo Furukawa here. And of course, a lot of essays at the back. One thing that was really interesting that I found out as well was that Mangaism, which is, I believe I first heard about it in one of Holmberg's essays. I believe it might have been in Nejishiki or one of the other Tsuge Yoshiharu collections. I believe Mangaism was one of the very first manga-centric criticism columns that were seen as, like, I guess, scholarly. Because Mangaism was added into Yagyo in 1978. So beforehand, it was run independently. But in 1978, it was absorbed into the magazine. So that's something I found really cool, because if you read the Nejishiki essay by Holmberg, I do think he mentions that, especially talking about the Nejishiki short story itself. So I do highly recommend to read the Nejishiki essay, even though it's very large. It's very long, like 30-40 pages. It's also split into, you know, different sections for each of the stories. So you've got like the section for Nejishiki, you've got the stories for the sections for the other stories as well. So it's not, in my opinion, not too bad. Maybe it's because I'm kind of obsessed with this manga anyways, so it might just be me. But yeah, this is another example, number 12. Seeing some of the same faces appearing, Tsuge brothers. Mitsuhashi Otoya appears in this one. We've got Kano Osamu as well. So let's just go through this. So this one is soft cover. It's not hardcover like number 8 was. So the format, the physical format of the magazine changed over time. I'm guessing because of sales, maybe, you know, it's expensive to have hardcovers. So here are some more essays or critiques making up a larger part of the magazine. So this one here, if you remember from the Mitsuhashi Otoya Dokuhon, there we go. So this is the panel here that is colored in the front of the book. And this one here is some art by Tsuge Tadao. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Very nice panel here as well. But yeah, I'm not sure who this mangaka is. And then I've got 14. Something as well. So 1985. Oh, so we've got, oh, okay, some red chapters. This one's a lot thicker, actually. Really cool stuff. But yeah, slowly going to collect all of it. In terms of Yagyo issues, I think I only have like 6 or 7 out of the 20. In terms of Gentou issues, I think there's 16 Gentou issues in total. I might have like 3. So it's going to be a slow one. It's going to be a slow journey collecting all this, but that's okay. I'm balancing a lot of manga magazines anyways. Right now, got Yagyo, Gentou, Garo, Kaku. That's the one by Semi Shobo. What else? Do I have any other manga magazines? Oh, I do have the, was it the Kaiki magazine as well? I still have to do a video on this one. That's another manga. Well, it's a manga anthology, but I'll chuck it in the same series. But yeah, tons of manga magazines and anthologies to keep up with anyway, so it's not too much of a rush. So let me just put these away first. Yeah, I also will just showcase some, I haven't opened these yet, but just some more examples of different covers for the Yagyo issues. Haven't opened this one yet. This one's number 10. This one is still hardcover. That's cool. This one I briefly showed off in the, what was it? What was his name? Saito Taneo. The Saito Taneo manga that I showed off, which was, what was the name of it? The Dream That Koshikari Saw. Yeah. So, those are some of the other Yagyo issues that I have. So now, we're going to move on to Gentou. So, I don't have Gentou 1. Oh no, I do have Gentou 1. What am I saying? Alright, I have Gentou 1, 2, and 16. That's all I have right now. I don't have anything else. Gentou's a little bit hard to find too. So, Gentou is another manga magazine, also by Hokuto Shobo, because Yagyo, it ran for 20 issues. After the 20 issues, it stopped, and so Gentou was made after to sort of continue that spirit of Yagyo. So if you notice here, this is number 1. Gentou, kind of in the same format, but of course the cover art is different. This is some cover art by Tsuge Yoshiharu. I believe Gentou put a pretty big focus on Yoshiharu. And so as of right now, I believe this is the most recent one. But this came out in 2021. I'm not sure if Gentou is actually finished. It might be like an indefinite hiatus from what I know. But these volumes are a bit hard to come by, to be honest. And so you will see, again, some overlaps with the mangaka that appear in Gentou. Yoshiharu, of course, but oh, this is a mangaka by the name of Urata Jun, I believe. I do want to pick up a Tangobon by him in some time, because his stuff looks pretty interesting. This here is by Isao Yamada, maybe? Not too sure. So again, very unfamiliar with a lot of the manga here. I believe this section here is just some Genga? Oh, sorry, is it Genga? Well, I forgot the name for like rough sketches. Rough sketches by Yoshiharu, which is pretty cool. So yeah, big focus on Yoshiharu. In here at least. It's interesting, I'm not too sure what these are. Oh, wait. Nejishiki, the Mokiri Tavern Girl. These look like the live action adaptations of Tsuge Yoshiharu's story. So this is a Nejishiki, it's the one with the candy scene. The Mokiriya Tavern Girl, also another story by Yoshiharu. Yeah, so it's looking like this section is talking about the live action adaptations of Yoshiharu. This looks like some landscape pictures from the live actions, an album of them. Pretty interesting stuff if you're a super fan. Yeah, if you look at this big section, like tons and tons of writing, essays, critiques, information, I'm assuming about Yoshiharu or other mangaka as well. A lot more than the other Yagyo issues that we saw. This mangaka I'm very interested to know about, just because of the art. I haven't really seen anything like it, but once I get to it, I'll get to it. Very like, I don't know, how do I describe this? It looks horrifying to me, to be honest, in the best way possible, of course. Especially with the structure of their faces. Creepy. Yeah, that was Gentou 1. Then we have Gentou 2. This was, yeah, a little bit thicker, but same format. Let's see if we recognize anything. That's Urata Jun again. With this I'm not sure who this boy is. Maybe it's a recurring character, but that is by Urata Jun. This is by that same manga that I just showcased. Very cool looking stuff. This looks to be, who's this by? Jan Koketo, if I'm reading that correctly. Interesting stuff. And a lot of writing again. Actually, not too much. This looks like, oh, interesting. Yes, so a Tsuge Yoshiharu. Maybe this is some Kashihon story. It looks very Kashihon. So rental manga. Looks like they reprinted it in this issue, which is pretty cool. Man, I was looking as well the other day. Me and a friend were talking about the English Tsuge Yoshiharu releases by Drawn and Quarterly. Just as a side note, I believe this is Handcuffs, a story that has also been released in English. I might be wrong. No, that's not Handcuffs. Never mind. My bad. But yeah, I was looking at the we were talking about the Tsuge Yoshiharu English releases, and I remember looking at the in Japan they've released a 22 volume set of Tsuge Yoshiharu's stories. So it collects pretty much everything that Yoshiharu put out throughout his career. 22 volumes is insane. I'm assuming as well they would have, you know, a lot of essays, critiques, journals, and a lot of writing on top of it. But the most interesting thing about that is just I'm really curious to see how many Kashihon reprints they did. Because I'm kind of tempted to just, you know, maybe buy one of the books just to see what's inside of it. 22 volumes just dedicated to one mangaka is absolutely insane, and of course Yoshiharu, which makes it even better. So maybe I'll just in the future just buy one of them just to see whether it's worth it to actually get the entire thing. Because 22 volumes, I think I saw a listing for it go for like, I think with shipping in terms of Australian dollars might be like near $1,000. Something like that. So it's not something that is high on the priority list, but it's very interesting to think about. Because recently, the fourth book, was it the fourth? Yeah, the fourth book for the Yoshiharu English releases was released, the Oba Electroplating Factory, I think the name of that was. Hasn't appeared yet in Australia. I'm just waiting for it to pop up and I'll pick it up soon. But yeah, so that was, I think, pretty much all that I pulled out today. So you had some Dokuhon for Otoya, Tadao, we had some Ebisu, and of course the rest were Gentou and Yagyo. So keep a lookout for the manga magazine series. I'm going to continue to do Garo. Hopefully I'll put up the Kaiki one sometime soon. This is 2017, the second issue of it. But yeah, sometime in the future, Gentou and Yagyo will appear, so keep a lookout for that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.